We're joined today by Dr. Mike Jones, Managing Director of Impact Minerals. Mike, thanks for your time.
Thanks, David. Great to be here.
All eyes are on the Lake Hope project, 500 kilometres east of Perth. Why is this project so exciting and where are you up to with it?
Yes, the Lake Hope High Purity Alumina project, we've had that now for a year. It's a joint venture and it is a very exciting project for a material that's becoming a crucial part of the energy transition, and that's the high purity alumina. It's used in lithium-ion batteries to stop them exploding, and it's used extensively in LEDs, both in light globes and smart screens and semiconductors. And we're excited to get into the project because it looks like it will be one of the world's lowest cost producers of HPA, and possibly the cheapest producer globally by a significant margin. And that all came together in the scoping study that we put out in November. And I will say that whilst there's been a bit of a downturn, Impact shares are up 40 to 50% since that time, unlike many. So it's certainly been well received and getting traction. And so what we're doing now is we're well into the pre-feasibility study, which is basically looking into more detail from the scoping study into how we're going to mine, process and then sell the material, the actual HPA, into the marketplace. So that process of the pre-feasibility study should be done by the end of this year, and that will then give us 80% of the project. So at the moment it's all hands on deck doing that work.
And are you starting to talk to potential offtake partners?
We certainly are. We've knocked on a few doors and very interestingly it's very clear that the demand is there. Certainly to take the material off our hands and do the preliminary test work. Now where we're at in the feasibility study is that we recently announced that we've got 2 processes that we can use to get to HPA. And the first process is the sulfuric acid leach, which we've spoken about a number of times over the last 12 months. But then we also knew in the background that there was another reagent set that we can use to get to HPA. We started that experimental work only in November and we got to HPA in February, which I will say is probably the quickest any HPA group on the ASX has managed to do. And so that gives us a lot of flexibility in what we do. So at the moment we're running forward with both of those processes, and by about the middle of this year we'll have significant quantities of HPA that we can then start to hand out to the to potential offtake people. So the demand is definitely there.
And where to from here? What should investors be focusing on?
So it's all really about the PFS. That should be completed, as I say, by the end of this year. And there are really 4 pillars to that. The first is the approvals process. So if people aren't familiar with the story, we're basically just going to mine the top 2 metres of a salt lake in the middle of nowhere, which is where the alumina is. So we believe that from an environmental perspective, and also importantly, we've already got native title clearance with the Naju people. So we believe that the approvals process of mining should be fairly straightforward. The second thing that we're looking at is actually where to build the process plant. So because HPA is listed on the critical minerals list of Australia as well as Europe and the USA, it does open up a lot of avenues for funding for us, both grants from the state and federal government. So the third one then is the metallurgical test work, which we've discussed, and then the last one then is getting product into the market space, and that will be the focus for us in the back end of this year. So there'll be a constant news flow from that, but we also plan to do a little bit of drilling on our Arkin battery metals project just located outside Perth, and there'll be some news on when we start that coming up shortly as well. So it's going to be a busy 2024.
Investors love a busy company. They love news flow. Exciting times ahead for Impact and its shareholders. Mike, thanks for your time.
No, thanks very much.